Of course, the big Venezuelan invasion. Bunch of fucking idiots, these Democrats, liberals, douchebags, usual suspects. The invasion. They do themselves such a disservice by trying to make something sound a lot worse than it is when Trump does it. Like, he invaded Venezuela. I don't know. They did go in. I don't think they had permission. They used the military. But I think an invasion demands you be there a little longer than a couple of hours. That's not quite an invasion. Incursion, an incursion or an invasion. But an incursion, you go in there, you grab the guy up, Maduro, and you take him out, him and his wife, I guess. They got a cool helicopter ride, though. That would be awesome. And I don't even think they landed on the roof. They must have had to put a harness on him and jacked him up into the helicopter. Fun ride you get out of it. But that was done, And obviously, I addressed a lot of this. I don't know how many people that watch this very program listen to the WABC radio program, but I addressed a lot of it last night. And I'm for this, but not for the reasons that they put out there. The drug thing is no. You could look today at the drug use in this country, and it didn't budge from before Maduro. It's Maduro, Mamdani, all these fucking names we shouldn't have to pay attention to. I can't stand it. But nothing changes. New Year's Day. Nothing changes. It's just they took the guy in, and drugs are still pouring into the country. They always will. It's simple supply and demand. As long as there's a demand for drugs in this country, the supply will get there. And so I don't really care about that angle. I think I kind of know that is the pretext that Trump used to go in there and grab this guy. I think blowing up the drug boats was also part of this kind of setup, getting the ducks in line to do this. You blow up a few drug boats over the course of a few months, and then it makes snatching the president, who is an indicted drug kingpin, a little easier. And then the people go, oh, right, that's the country with the boats that Trump was blowing up. So now they grab this guy. It looks like it's a big thing that's been going on for a while. But I do think it has to do a lot with Venezuela's resources. Racehorses, no resources. I think it has a lot to do with the oil. And I don't want to sound like one of these oil man, another war for oil man. I don't want to sound like that. I like the idea of doing this for oil. I don't like the idea of a protracted, never-ending, very costly, financially and through young American lives, war for anything, unless it's to protect the United States. But why not? Why not? You look at Venezuela, they got a lot of oil there, man. More than Saudi Arabia. They got resources, gold, and all kinds of mineral resources that are in high demand today because they're used in computers and batteries for a lot of these autonomous battery-powered vehicles and whatnot. Space. And China and Russia and a lot of other shitty countries had influence over this Maduro guy. And why should we just sit back because they're evil nations? We should just sit back and let them reap the rewards of having a relationship with a dictator in Venezuela? Or do we snatch the guy out of there and set up operations? Get that oil. I like that. Why is that a bad thing? Man, why is it a bad thing? Trump just went into the drugs. It doesn't even matter. It's for the oil. Okay. Well, what about America first and no new wars? This wasn't a war. It isn't a war. There's no war here. At least as of yet. And I don't see any signs that this is going to escalate into something. It might. No one knows what the future will bring. But it certainly does. We're not sitting there going, uh-oh, this certainly looks like war. No other world leader opened their mouth. No other world leader. The Democrats here, liberal douchebags here, said something there, they want this guy put back in. They love a good commie dictator. And the rest of the world's just like, well, you make your bed. You got to lay in it. And that's what happened. There's no outrage. The UN said something. No one gives a shit what the UN says anymore, if they ever did. So it's not like that's an issue. They're not going to sanction the United States. There's not some world coalition saying that if they don't do this, then the world will unite and do this against the United States. It's just not happening. No one gave a shit about this guy. And up till very recently, even the Democrats and liberals here in this country were saying, well, this guy, he's got to be removed. Maduro's a dictator and he's evil and the people of Venezuela are suffering. And Trump, back in 2019, they were like, oh, Trump, he's not doing anything about this guy. And then he does something and they're like, oh, illegal. This is crazy. Trump is nuts. He's got to go. And truth of the matter is, no one really has a problem with this, except the politically motivated problem of Trump being the opposition, doing something that was a success. The mission was unbelievably successful. You might not agree with it, but you can't deny that it went down without a hitch. And that's a good thing for Trump, good thing for the military, bad thing for the Democrats because they got to live up to that. That whole fucking episode, will make an amazing campaign ad during the midterms for Vance and Lil Marco when they run. It's going to be Vance and Lil Marco, vice president, obviously. Mud. That's wonderful apple juice. Juice. So I like the idea of going in, getting a corrupt, bad leader. It's all relative. And taking the resources. That's old school. This is how nations used to build, get things through conquering. And why did that become out of fashion? I like it. What are we all good for these wars? Like everyone loved the idea of going into Iraq because somehow they had twisted our minds into thinking they had somehow something to do with 9/11. So after 9/11, when George W. Bush was like, and pretty soon they're going to hear from us and and everyone's like, yeah, fuck it, just fuck something up. Afghanistan, another fucking year after year of death, and for what? We're gonna bring democracy to the people. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a shit. That isn't an America first kind of a thing. Taking a bunch of American troops and sending them overseas under this bullshit of we're going to make a democracy there. They're cavemen. They're fucking cavemen. So young men dying for that, and who wants that shit? But oil? To go in a day and grab the leader and then say, what about the oil? Yeah, we're keeping it. We'll run the place for a while. We'll put in some interim leader that won't do shit about us coming in and taking stuff. That's a great thing. And you tell me that isn't an America first idea? This isn't, a lot of people are bitching that this is Trump reneging on his campaign promise of no new wars, no new endless wars, really, is what he talked about, like Afghanistan and Iraq and all the bullshit that's been going on in the Middle East. And this doesn't fall into that category. When he said that, anyone who thought when he said no protracted, never-ending foreign wars, if you thought that meant no military action anywhere in the world, then you were sadly mistaken and a little naive about the whole thing. Of course we're going to have to utilize the military as the United States, as long as it benefits the United States. And I don't think the Afghanistan war benefited the United States. I don't think going into Iraq after 9/11 to get their mobile weapons of mass destruction vans, that nonsense, that wasn't good for the United States. Even liberating Kuwait, that did nothing to the United States. Who gives a shit? Kuwait. They have oil. Who cares? They're always changing their borders over there and shit. You don't think Saddam wouldn't have pumped some oil out of Kuwait, put it on the market? But this, let's say you snatch this Maduro guy, and then you start shipping millions of barrels of oil here to the United States. How does that not benefit the United States? That is, in my idea, America first. Good, let's do this. And if, some people want to think that it's cutting down on the drugs because the drugs are a threat to especially our young people here in this country, there you go. There's a little perk if it's happening at all. But people want to make it sound like a bad thing, the oil aspect, the whole oil thing. Don't try to hide it. Don't be secretive. And for the opposition, the left, the liberals, the Democrats, don't try to use it like it's a weapon. Like, really? Well, it was all for oil. And you're supposed to go, oh, it's like when someone called you a racist years ago. Remember that? And you go, hey, no. I'm not a racist. And now everyone just goes, all right, I'm a racist. And that's the same thing as this. They've conditioned you to think that if America is taking a country's resources, that somehow we got to feel bad and guilty about that. Hey, no. This is about the drugs. Drugs are coming in and we don't want drug. Now just go, yeah, oil. The whole fucking world runs on it, dummy. Everything. Turn on a light. There you go. You like your light? You like charging up your phone? You like driving your car? Then you should be happy. that not one American life was taken, that we just were able to go in a couple of hours, grab this leader who the rest of the world didn't even give a shit about. Because that's another thing. Well, does this mean that any world leader could just go in and take a leader they don't like and take their resources? I don't know. Give it a try. Give it a try. See how it works. It's not a blanket thing you can do. I think you got to take into consideration some things like, oh, what's the country that's doing the taking? What are they like? Are they a huge nuclear world power? Who's the guy you're grabbing? Is it a beloved leader? The people love the guy leading their country? Is he working well with the rest of the Western world, where they would have a problem if someone snatched him? It's not just a one thing, like, oh, a leader can be grabbed by another leader. And go ahead. See how that works out for you. Because truth be told, the United States of America, very powerful nation. And this Maduro guy, not well liked by his people and by the rest of the world. Venezuela, a country with amazing resources. Little perfect formula there to go in, snatch him up, and reap the rewards. What if Putin decides now that he could just go in and grab Zelensky? And all right, play that out in your head. See how that would play out. The world has given Zelensky hundreds of billions of dollars to fight this war against Putin. They've threatened Putin. They brought at certain times, it looked like NATO might have to get involved, like Putin would step over some of these borders and involve Europe. So it got a little iffy. So you think if Putin just snatches Zelensky, the rest of the world's just going to go, that happens. Look what happened in Venezuela. Trump set that precedent. I think it's a different thing, and I think the world would have something to say about it, and it would probably spur military action in some way, shape, or form against Putin and Russia. It would embolden the West to get involved. I'm surprised they haven't faked it yet. I'm surprised they haven't faked Zelensky getting kidnapped by Putin already in order to drag us and the rest of Europe into an actual war with Russia. But yeah, so if you're thinking that Trump is setting a precedent where this can happen, if South Korea wants to jump in and grab Kim Jong-un, you'd hear a lot from China and Russia, but I don't think the rest of the world would care. North Korea is supposedly a nuclear country, though, so that wouldn't be wise. Wouldn't be wise. You need all of those conditions for a plan like this to work. A ballsy president with the power of the most powerful nation in the world behind you. A country with amazing resources, a leader of that country who's despised by everyone, his own people and other world leaders. And you have a good recipe there to be able to go in and do something like this. So calm down. I scroll through X and it's just a nonstop invasion, war. Trump cannot declare war on Venezuela. He didn't. He didn't even come close. The War Powers Act. You know, what about the War Powers Act? Yeah, the War Powers Act gives him the authority to do this. Everyone thinks that War Powers Act is like Congress has to be notified and has to have a say and take part in the planning and execution of the. No, the War Powers Act actually says the president doesn't have to notify Congress until 48 hours after the start of any hostilities. And that unless Congress approves, they have to pull out any military resources within 60 days. I think it's 60 to 90, depending on certain things. What does he do? He was in there for a couple hours. It's like going to a movie. Congress knew within minutes what was going on. And this was kind of a big part of what I was talking about last night. Why the fuck would Trump give you guys the benefit of the doubt that, first of all, you could keep your mouths shut? Could you imagine Trump calling in the Gang of Eight and letting Democrats, congressmen, know that he's doing this? Here's the plan. We're going to do this late Saturday night, whatever it was. I know it was early in the morning, so either Friday, early morning, Saturday night. We all know when it was. And say, yeah, this is what we're going to do in a day. And you think these Democrats would keep their mouths shut instead of leaking it and getting word to Maduro that this was happening so that the mission would have been a complete failure? Because that's all they want. They just want Trump to fail. Why would they look at a plan and go, well, this is a brilliant plan you have here. I'm sure it'll go off without a hitch. Hey, we'll keep our yaps shut on this one, Mr. President. We'll give you campaign ads for a few years with this one. Thanks for letting us know. We don't live in that kind of America anymore, where one side can tell the other side something without the other side trying to use that information to completely fuck it up. Well, that's what the Constitution says, and that's what, yeah, like I said, he adhered to the Constitution and to the War Powers Act, but it would have been a courtesy. That's really what it would have been. If Trump would have informed the Democrats what his intentions were with Venezuela, that would have been a courtesy call, not something that he is legally bound to do. And why give these fucks courtesy? Why? Have they done anything to build up enough trust with Donald Trump that Trump would give them the benefit of the doubt and say, I'm going to let him know for courtesy, out of courtesy, what our plans are? They tried to put him in prison. They tried to kill him. You think maybe not telling him about an important plan that, if information got out, could result in the deaths of young American soldiers and airmen? There's not only is there nothing that would give Trump the impression that they could be trusted with this information, there is past record, past performance of what the Democrats have done that would lead Trump to absolutely not even consider giving them the information on something so sensitive. So fuck you is pretty much what I'm saying, and what Trump said when it probably at some point came across his desk saying, should we give the Democrats a courtesy call and let them know what's going on? I would have loved to seen the "are you out of your fucking mind" face that Trump made to whoever delivered that little message in the Oval Office. So, yeah, the Democrats are hypocrites. Back in 2019, 2020, people like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and all of them We're talking about what a horrible guy this Maduro, Nicolas Maduro is, and how Trump is buddying up to him, and his policies against Maduro are doing nothing to get him out of office. And then you're like, well, he's doing something now. See, he's gone. He's not the president there anymore. They're used to the do-nothing politicians, like Joe Biden with his babble. Just, we're gonna stand up to tyranny, and Venezuelan people deserve democracy and a vote that. And what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. They're constantly talking. Those congressional hearings and Senate hearings, I've gotten all wound up watching those too. Oh, he's done. Oh my God, he nailed him with that one. And then nothing ever happens. They just go about their business. And then they have another hearing, and it seems like someone's really fucked now, and nothing happens. And then the sanctions and we're going to go to the UN, and the UN will wag their finger at this leader and say, no, no, no. And now you actually had people years ago saying Maduro's a bad guy. He's terrible for the Venezuelan people, and he needs to go. And Trump actually does something, and they're like, what? You can't really do something. What is he doing? He actually did something. We can't have that. So that's a big part of what the left and the Democrats have been saying since this military operation, I guess you call it. Not a war. Wasn't an invasion. They like to talk about it like that. And yeah, the War Powers Act gave him the right to do all that. Happily.